Here it is, the perfect prompt. Watch this. Enter and done. Look at this. Full post layout, styling, components, reusable components. I could never do this by myself. This is incredible. Yeah, no, that's obviously not how it actually went down. This video is over an hour long, and there's a reason for that. No, it didn't just take 3 seconds, but this is what I actually built. In this video, I build the entire post layout system for an Astro website using AI. We build the full layout for the post collection, the hero section, a complete sidebar, and multiple reusable components, including a video component, inline call to actions, a next step section, an author box, related posts, and a full end of post call to action. Then we make the entire thing fully responsive and make sure it works perfectly on mobile. We also convert every image on the site to use Astro's built-in image optimization. And that part is a game changer. Do not skip it. And finally, we codify the entire design system, headings, lists, block quotes, spacing, and typography. So everything is consistent across the entire site. And I'm doing all this without coding, without page builders, and without plugins, or jumping through admin panels. And you're seeing the exact workflow I use so you can adapt it to your own projects. This video is part 4 of a series I'm making that will likely include over 10 videos. I already covered scaffolding the project, finding design inspiration, and built the homepage hero and created an SEO-driven content system with front matter and schema. And this series is different because I'm not just posting videos where I run 5 prompts to get something that looks good, but isn't a full workflow and doesn't have an actual business use case. You get to see the whole workflow without fluff or making you search through 15 different tutorials on YouTube to connect everything together. This is about building a real website system you can confidently use for yourself or for your clients. That's the bigger idea behind this series. This is a long video, so you can use the timestamps in the description or the chapter overlay with a progress bar at the bottom of the video to skip around without getting lost. If you want any of the prompts from this video, they're available on thomasfellows.com in an easy to click and copy component. So let's get to building it. But one quick thing. At the very end of this video, I add one extra UX detail that isn't listed in the chapter overlay. It's small, but I think it makes the post layout feel way more polished. So here's prompt 1. That you can get on thomasfellows.com. And this prompt creates the structural foundation for individual post pages. This isn't the final design, but it's the skeleton, the hero, the article content, sidebar, and end of post components that we're gonna plug into later. So let's go ahead and take a look at the prompt itself. I'm not gonna read it verbatim. You can do that if you want, but I'll just give you a pretty good overall overview of the of the prompt. That way you can see how it's structured, and then you'll notice that most of these prompts follow the same structure and pattern. So I made it in a way that you could, if you wanted to, instead of just clicking the implement plan button inside of Codex, that you can go ahead and copy the prompt and paste it into a fresh chat for zero context, zero token usage. So that's the first part right here, right? And here's what it's going to implement, which is a layout file, the hero placeholder, because later we're going to get into creating the hero, and the sidebar placeholder, the content placeholder, and end of post placeholder. So this is basically just a repeat of that exact same thing. And it's telling the Codex what not to build, okay? And it's telling it basically to inspect the files that we have, and then its output, its desired output. So what we do is that we're gonna copy this and we're gonna paste this into VS Code and Codex. So once you're inside VS Code, make sure you have your project open, okay? And we'll go ahead and go over to the chat window with Codex. So in order to get to plan mode, you do the \plan and go ahead and click that, and then we'll go ahead and paste in our prompt 1, and let it work. Okay, so it went ahead and produced the prompt, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at it. It's pretty much customized to my repos, to this project, right? So depending on how Codex decides to read your prompt, it may ask you if you want to implement the plan, or it might just end up as a prompt like this. So for me, it just ended up as a prompt, and I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to copy in and paste it into a new chat and just go ahead and implement it right now. So I'm going to copy it, click new chat, and then see what it produces. Okay, it ran for 1 minute and 36 seconds. It implemented the hero placeholder, the sidebar placeholder, the end regions, and the post layout. But I'm going to go ahead and just move on to go on to phase 2, the prompt number 2. we'll finish from where we left off in the previous videos. So, yep, we have kind of the same content that we had in the previous prompt. And then here's our more specific prompt details, where basically what we want it to do is create a clean, readable article styling for MDX content, right? And I want it to include everything that you might see inside of a regular blog post. So all the different headings, the paragraph link styling, ordered lists, nested lists, block quotes, inline code, code blocks, images, tables, horizontal rules, all that kind of stuff. So as you write your blog posts, every once in a while, you're going to use those elements, right? So what I wanted it to do is also not only create those, is create a sample post so that we can see all of those things in context, because I'm not creative and it's not really easy to see if things look good by themselves on an island. You want to see them in context of what it would look like in a real post. So I told it to do that as well. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and copy this. You can go ahead and read it verbatim, word for word if you want, and alter it to your project's likings. So let's create a new chat, and then we'll do plan again. Do plan mode. We'll paste our prompt number 2 in here and let it get to work. And one of the reasons I'm doing plan mode between each prompt is because there has been changes to the code base. So you can see that it says it's going to inspect the repo first. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see how long it worked for. It worked for 1 minute and 5 seconds to create the plan. All right. And create a clean, readable styling for raw MDX content rendered inside the main post article column. So the beginning is more or less what I had in the original prompt, and it's getting more specific as to which files exist. And here's my content silos here. Here's the glossary term references on the schema, right? And we have the author that we created before mentioned, Thomas Fellows. And here, this might get interesting. So we're going to have a class created there. Okay, so use the site's existing visual language. Okay, so we have that. And I'm not going to go through it verbatim, but it's looking pretty good so far. So what I'm going to do is copy this and start a new chat, and we'll implement it. You could change it to extra high too if you like. Okay, it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It has the sample post running here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so we have our title, and we have some kind of initial excerpt, and then the author and publish date, and then a featured image. So we have all that. We have our lists. We have underline links. We have the code block. Code block's looking nice. There's an inline image. There's table, looks fine. It doesn't look like it is shown everything. So I don't really like the way the top of the post looks. So we're gonna have to change that, right? And yeah, I don't want there to be an excerpt up here either. I don't know if that's a piece of front matter that they added. So we'll have to go ahead and make some adjustments here. So, but on a first run, it's looking pretty good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give some feedback to VS Code and Codex to change this a little bit on what I want changed as far as the content styling elements. As far as the layout itself for the post, it seems that there's a lot of headings that look very similar. And we want the headings to be distinguishable from each other, especially headings 1 through 4. So I'm not sure how you want to do that, but try to make them a little bit more stylized so we can tell the difference between them. Along with that, since right now I'm reviewing the style of the post elements, like the headings, inside of each heading, I want you to literally type the text H1, H2 inside there so we can see what it is and give feedback on each one individually. I want you to make the link stand out a little bit more, maybe make the text italics, and because right now it just kind of looks like a bold underlined word. So make it italic and a little bit more recognizable as a link. The code block looks pretty good, but the two blues are too similar. I want you to make them different colors. And then along with that, you have these, looks like code outside of the code block, like button underscore click. It is highlighted in this light blue. And instead of matching the website's theme, have it match a code theme with the code block. So it's distinguishable as code instead of just some highlighted text, because that's what it looks like right now. For the block quote, make the text bigger and then also add a quotation mark inside of there too. So make it really stand out as a big block quote. The table's looking good. And yeah, if there's any elements for the post, like the content elements styling that you didn't show me, then go ahead and put those into this post too. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that and review. All right, it ran for 1 minute and 39 seconds. Let's see our results. We have H1 is nice and big, H2, H3, H4. Okay, I think the code block and that is good, but all the rest of it I think is not good at all. So let's go ahead and try to make some more adjustments. Imagine that you are the best web designer ever. You have amazing skill and taste. The headings should all look like headings and be recognizable as headings. H1 and H2 should have different fonts. Again, we want them to be differentiated, but not like random elements that aren't even headings. And for the block quote as well, don't use the same font as the H1. Make it a little bit bigger and make the quotation mark look much bigger and cooler. All right, we'll send that through and see what happens. Again, I'm not creative, so I just had basically to make it look better. So hopefully it does. So it says that H3 were being pushed into decorative treatments, so they're gonna stop treating them like components. So I guess that's computer talk for what I said. All right, let's check it out. Okay, there's H2, H3. Okay, we're back to more or less just size differentiators. Okay, the block quote is looking much better, but it's kind of cut off. I don't like that. All right, let's go ahead and give it one more pass. The underline for H2 shouldn't go beyond the text itself. Also, for the headings, we should follow the same rules for title when as far as capitalization, that each word should be capitalized. And have H3 and H5 be slightly lighter in color. And then for the block quote, the quotation mark itself is cut off. So maybe give some more padding around the block quote so that the quotation mark isn't cut off by the border. And then since you're the best web design ever, you can take one more quality assurance check on the other elements, design elements. And it says it's good to go. So let's see what we got. Okay, H3 is a little bit lighter, giving it some differentiations. H5 is too. H6 is following that same pattern. That looks good. The block quote, okay. So I think there's one problem there in that the quotation mark is too close to the text. I think other than that, everything else is looking good. So let's fix that and then call it a day. Everything's looking pretty good now, except for the block quote. The quotation mark itself is up against the text too much. So put some space between the quotation mark and the text itself. Then we should be good to go. So after that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to make all these design decisions as part of the permanent design system. Of course, it's changeable. All right. Yep. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And what else? Is there anything else to change? Maybe a little bit more breathing room between the text and the headings, and then it's good. I'll just leave it as it is. Can change it later if I feel like it doesn't look good. So all the design decisions that we just made, what we want to do is codify them and make them permanent inside of our website's design system so that our website has consistency in design across the entire website. So go ahead and make those into a permanent fixture of our design system. I said the same thing like 3 times in 3 different ways, so should hold. All right, it worked for 2 minutes and 2 seconds. So if you are a CSS guru, if you want, you can go into the project files and verify manually, but I'm just gonna do a verbal verification. That's pretty much it for that prompt, and we're gonna move on to the next one. So previously I said that I didn't like the way the hero section was done. I already had an idea for the hero section, and that's what we're going to take care of now with the third prompt. So if you go down to the third prompt, the hero section, what I want it to have is a featured image, a post title, breadcrumbs, author, which is we have a content collection for that, the publish date, reading time, and glossary tags. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to handle breadcrumbs or reading time, and I'm just going to let Codex take care of how that's going to work out. You can go ahead and read through the prompt verbatim if you want, but it's essentially following the exact same structure as the previous ones. So we'll copy prompt number 3. We'll go back over here. We'll get a new chat. Switch this back to medium. Get into plan mode. Oops. So it applies to the specifics of your project. All right. So it has created a detailed version of the prompt I gave it based on my repo structure. Okay, so it's going to replace the current hero placeholder. And let's give it a go. We'll copy this prompt, get into a new chat, and this one could be some advanced stuff again. So we'll go to high as far as reasoning and let it get to work. All right, it worked for 2 minutes and 16 seconds. It implemented the production of the hero. Okay, so we don't have an image here to look at, and the layout is a little bit wonky. So let's go ahead and change that out and give it some more details on how we want it laid out. So the hero is looking quite bland. So let's go ahead and change that up right now. In the hero section, we have a little pill above the H1 that says electrician websites. I want you to completely remove that. So tell me how you got that there, but I don't like it, and remove it. It should be full width, and you have no placeholder image in there. I want to see a real image in there so I can get the full context, right? It doesn't have to be, matching any kind of theme or anything. Just get an image in there so I can see what it's going to look like. Then the H1 will not be next to any other elements. Then the author, publish date, and read time can have a little dot in between each, and give read time a clock icon, I guess, so it looks better. And then there's the glossary content collection reference tags down there. They look very random and not styled or anything, so stylize that or let it stand out or do something so it's more obvious what that is, right? Yeah. So the entire hero itself looks very bland, and it doesn't look like the heading or the hero of a beautiful post. So imagine yourself as the best web designer ever, and then recreate this layout to be incredible. Give yourself a little bit of creative freedom. So take that feedback and get to work. So hopefully that produces something good. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to go out and then find some example of blog post heroes to upload and then just tell it to copy, right? Which is a pretty good strategy, but I'm just letting it get some creative freedom at the moment because I want to see what it can produce. Okay, so yeah, the excerpt was from the front matter, and yeah, that's part of the SEO metadata. So we don't want to remove the field itself, just remove it from the being visible on the post. Okay, it worked for 3 minutes and 19 seconds. It says we're good to go, so let's take a look what we have. So this is the hero we have, and I looked at Brixie's and I went to their single post hero section, and I didn't really want to use one of these, although they're good. So I just did a regular Google search for single blog post hero examples. And then I found this Crocoblock one that I ended up liking. So that's what we're going to use as the basis for the next attempt. So I'll go ahead and get that image and I'll post it in here, upload it in here, and then I'll give it some advice. If you look at the image, it has nothing above the featured image. But what I want you to do is I want you to put the breadcrumbs above the featured image so that the person's face, that image should come from the author's avatar image from the author's content collection, right? And then under all that is the title of the post. There's also on the bottom right some social sharing icons. I do like the social sharing icons, but I don't like its location, or maybe the location's good, but I'm just not sure that a good way to implement it. So an immediate good way to implement the social sharing icons, you can do it now, or you can recommend that we put them at a different location of the post at a later time, say in the sidebar or somewhere else. So go ahead and take that feedback and update the hero section for this. All right, it worked for 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Let's go ahead and take a look at the result. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is looking much cleaner now. So I don't like that. See if that works. Okay, all right, so let's give it some feedback. The featured image, it needs some kind of border or shadow or something of that type. That way it can stick off of the page a little bit better because, for example, this image has a white, it's very white, and so the edges looks like it blends right into the blog post. Give a tiny bit more space between the author avatar image and the text below it, like the publish date, that line. Also, the referenced glossary terms, that card, it is, yeah, it's looking a little bit too light. So that blends in too much to the background as well. Yeah, stand out a little bit better. And then I know the content collection is called glossary terms, but from a UX perspective, it doesn't really mean much. So we need to come up with something better here. I don't know if it's a title or if it's an instruction. You can come up with a different title if you want, like, I don't know, topics, or I'm not sure, or just say related topics or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure, but there should be some better UX to that. You know what I'm talking about? And yeah, as far as the alignment too, the breadcrumbs do seem a little bit out of place, being at the top left, like right above the featured image. So I'm not sure if they need to come down to the area with the H1 and the reference to glossary terms and all that type of thing, or how we want to take care of that. But it looks kind of out of place right now. So, and the breadcrumbs, it's not necessarily obvious that it's clickable. So maybe we can change the styling there. That's kind of strange. It's like 2/3 of the whole thing, maybe. Yeah. So either make that full width or make no card. I'm not sure how the styling you want to change there. But anyway, remember that you're the best web designer ever. So go ahead and take that feedback and make it better. All right, it worked for 1 minute. Said it changed all that. Let's see. Okay, it's looking a little bit better because they're all used for navigation. So let's change that up. I want you to integrate the breadcrumbs into the related topics card, because at the end of the day, all of that is used for navigation and user experience. I'm not sure how you should integrate those, but integrate those in an intelligent way. Let's see what we got. You are here, related topics. Okay, yeah, this is looking cleaner and better. The only issue is that if we start getting more than 2 related topics, how that's going to end up. I think we just make it full width. For the navigation card where the you are here and the related topics, that one, it's very likely that some posts will have more than 2 glossary terms there. So I want you to make this card full width. And also from a user perspective side, yeah, no one's going to click on something that says glossary. They don't want to know the definition of analytics down there on the sidebar. A glossary isn't good either with the list of those posts, right? So I'm still not sure the term to use there. When you click on it, you go to a page that is a glossary term itself. So that is correct. But as far as the user experience point of view, what is a better word? I'm a user. I'm going to click on analytics, and then I'm going to go to a page that has the definition. But at the same time, I'm going to have the posts related to that topic, right? So in WordPress, we call it categories and tags. Maybe something more explicit. It tells exactly what you're getting. Not that. Anyway. Yeah. So hopefully it's going to get my confusion and come up with something better than I can. But we'll see. Oh, this is not good now. I do not like how the breadcrumbs wrap. And we'll just call this related posts. How about, okay, let's do this. Should always be full width. I never want the breadcrumbs to be wrapping. They shouldn't wrap ever. Okay. Where it says definitions and related articles, have that say posts related to : that should be fine. And then, you can make that better. As far as wrapping, so there's a line that separates the breadcrumbs and the related posts archive links, right? You can have that line be responsive. For what I mean is, if there's a short breadcrumb, that line will move to the left. If the breadcrumb is long, again, we don't want the breadcrumbs to wrap, so then it means that line will move to the right. All right, we're done. Okay, do we like these side by side, or do we just want to stack them? Breadcrumbs and the post related to, which means that the you are here can probably be to the left of the breadcrumbs, and the post related to can probably be to the left of those glossary term reference tags. All right, worked for 34 seconds. Let's see our results. Okay, still ugly because it's to the left aligned while the title is center. That card is still ugly because the stuff in the card is left aligned and the title and all that other stuff is centered. I don't know how to make this look good, but make it look good. Remember, you're the best web designer ever. It looks kind of plain. Can you make it look more interesting? Less plain. It's still too plain. It's a little bit too much now, but we can get rid of the pills. There's a black background behind you are here and post related to. Just get rid of the pill itself and then make the text darker again. And for the breadcrumbs, you can get rid of the pill here as well, that border, and just have that text sit on top of the gradient background as it is. My dictation is not hearing correctly again. It said behind the hero and pulse related to. It should be you are here and posts related to. It didn't pick that up well. So we'll see if it messes it up. There we go. It read it correctly. All right. Those are a little bit better. And that's nice. I guess we just want to change the style of these tags. On the you are here card, there's a teal line at the top border. Can you make that thinner? Like a lot thinner? Lately it's been messing up or not being accurate. Okay, that's looking a little cleaner. That line is good, but there's something a little bit awkward about it. It just stops at the corner. I don't know if it should extend like another little bit or make it look better. Am I being too picky? Oh, that looks cool. There we go. See, that's why I'm not a designer. Okay. Anything else? Oh, there's something I didn't notice is that this avatar, author avatar image isn't quite like the one here. Where is it? There's space between it and the image. I liked that. The author avatar image circle, if you look at the screenshot I uploaded, there's actually space between that and the featured image. I want you to make sure that that space is there, and just like the image I uploaded. Okay, let's undo that. Okay, so I think we have to actually upload the picture again. So let's go ahead and take the picture. I cut off the author's image. I uploaded a screenshot of the featured image and the author avatar image. And as you can see, there's a space between the featured image and the author avatar, like a round gap there. This is looking strange. It seems there's a border around the feature image itself now. If you look at the screenshot, it looks like the featured image is cut out around the avatar. And it looks like what you did is just added a border around the avatar image and a border around the featured image. Just does not look like the uploaded screenshot at all, right? I'll switch us to extra high reasoning and I'll upload the screenshot one more time. It looks like it didn't work. This might be a hard one for it. We're testing its ability. 2 separate shadows, so that way each of those images comes off of the background at the moment. Okay, it looks like we finally got what we were looking for. So that took a while, but I guess I was too picky on the style I want because I'm not creative. And this says that we have an existing dirty work tree. I'm assuming it's because I didn't submit the last changes to Git. All right, it worked for 55 seconds, and it's going to give us some props, the video ID, title, caption, class name. So that's what it came up with, and let's go ahead and give it a go. Excuse me, the prompt. Okay, so it said it left the sample MDX file untouched because it's already part of the dirty untracked work tree. So what I'm going to do is ask it to go ahead and add the video component there. And then after this component is done, then I'm going to go ahead and submit it to Git. So the next thing we're going to build out is a video component. This is prompt number 4, and it starts out the same as the others, just describing what kind of project this is. And then more or less just saying we want a component for a YouTube video embed. We'll go ahead and copy that. Then we will create a new chat, get it to plan mode, paste that on in there. We'll move this back to medium and get to work. This says that we have an existing dirty work tree. I'm assuming it's because I didn't submit the last changes to Git. But all right, it worked for 55 seconds. And let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so you're working in an existing Astro and Tailwind project. Okay, it's going to create a YouTube embed component and then edit the sample to post. And it's going to give us some props, the video ID, title, caption, class name. Let's go ahead and give it a go. So I'll copy this and we'll paste in the post, the prompt, let it get to work. Okay, so it said it left the sample MDX file untouched because it's already part of the dirty untracked work tree. What I'm going to do is ask it to go ahead and add the video component there. And then after this component is done, then I'm going to go ahead and submit it to Git. Can you add a sample video component of this to the sample MDX post? That way I can see what it looks like visually. And yeah, you can make sure the local server is started and give me the URL to view it. I took a break for a second, so when you do that, the local server often shuts down, so I had to restart it. Here is the embed itself. We have a link and that. Yeah, it's strictly just an embed. So I'm not a big fan of that. I'm looking for something that actually makes it a call out. So my original agency site. So if I go to, let's see here, must have pages for electrician website. I have something just like this right here. So it has the YouTube description and the transcript. I don't think I need either of those because this is more small scale, but that's too wide and I want it to be inline. So I could have it should be a horizontal card. So I'll basically just have it just like this, but maybe the video on the right, I'm not sure. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and take a screenshot of this and say to replicate something like this. So I uploaded a screenshot of something closer to what I want, which includes a subscribe button, a watch on YouTube button, and the video title. You don't need the channel avatar image, the channel link, or the channel name, but definitely include those buttons and the video title. But I'm not sure if it's gonna look good and fit well inside of a regular blog post, or if it needs to be stacked. So anyway, take that feedback and then update the video component. So it's saying that it's going to need the subscribe URL. So it's going to wire that up. Much more what I'm talking about. Still, still feel like this is too difficult to tell. There's not enough contrast there, and I think I want the thumbnail to be a little bit bigger. There's not enough contrast between the component itself and the background of the site, and I think we want to change that to make it stand out a little bit more. Also, the card feels a little bit cramped, and I want the thumbnail to be bigger too. So I'm not sure how we're going to accomplish all of that while keeping it horizontal. We might have to stack some stuff. Anyway, take that feedback and redesign it. Oh yeah, there's a much bigger contrast, but it just looks out of place now. Watch on YouTube. Let's see what it looks like. What is this? Me at the zoo. Let's see if we did it like this. This is how they got it going. Don't really need to follow that layout. We got all this wasted white space right here. And we already have watch on YouTube up there, so we don't need it down here as well. Theme, it's too high contrast, doesn't look like it matches the theme. So we'll get rid of that. Since the thumbnail itself already has a hover watch on YouTube button, let's get rid of the watch on YouTube button next to the subscribe button. Get rid of the little teal video text, then make the title and the little excerpt full width of the card. Yeah, we'll go with that for the moment. All right, 49 seconds, and we got it lighter. Oh, no, again, looks like it just randomly blends into the post again. Is remove the border around the left and the right and the top of the YouTube video, but make a frame continue from the left side of the YouTube video and the right side of it down all the way to the bottom beyond where the subscribe is. if you get what I'm saying. And then make background. If you don't understand, ask clarifying questions. That looks any better. Okay. I think it's looking a little bit better. I'm just not sure where this excerpt will come from. And in fact, I'm not even sure this should be at the bottom, but I think there doesn't need to be an excerpt to maybe put the subscribe button just right below the title or just to the right of the title. For the text and button below the video embed, we'll just go ahead and get rid of the excerpt there that says a compact video card can give readers blah, blah, blah. Get rid of that completely. And if the title runs long, then just have it wrap, but make sure the button stays to the right of the title. If there's any context that needs to be added, I'll just say it before the video component appears so the reader will know. I guess I didn't need to add that last part. That's just for me, so I can get rid of it. The redesign. And all right, it's looking a little tighter. Looking good. I think that does it for the video component. Simple is good. Does it play right here? Okay, it plays right here too. Okay, good. Now move on to the next component. So before we move on to the next prompt, what I'm going to do is go ahead and make a commit for Git, because it seems like Codex doesn't like it when I leave a bunch of stuff in there. So we'll come over here to the source control, and then we'll say update post collection layout. Stage all the changes, make a commit. All right. Yep, we don't have it synced yet, but that's fine. We'll call it a day for that. Then we'll move on to the next prompt. Inline CTA component. So this is your basic just call to action, book a call, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. So right here we have flexible headline copy, flexible button text, and flexible button URL. So basically the whole idea for this is I'm just going to add this component inside of a post, and when I create the post, I'll just have it have a relevant call to action based on what the post is. So yeah, you can go ahead and take a look at it, but otherwise we're gonna follow the same procedure that we've been following. Copy it. If it doesn't come up with something bold and interesting quickly, then we'll go ahead and move to the internet for some inspiration and take a screenshot. All right, it worked. 55 seconds, and it's gonna shoot out a call to action. And here's our props: headline, copy, button text, button URL, optional label, and class name. Added a real MDX sample so let's check it out. Do we have it? Where is it? Oh, it's looking pretty plain to me, but I don't have any good ideas, so I'm going to go to the internet to find some examples that I like, and then copy those. Well, not copy them, take after those. I'm looking for without an image, so there's only so much you can do there, right? But there's way too much text on this one. So I'll just give it a try by myself without getting any inspiration yet. For this inline call to action, I don't want there to be the planning next steps text above it, above the title, and we do not need any paragraph text. The only thing we want is just one big headline. The text, the font can be much bigger than that. And then we'll have the card itself needs to be have much more contrast. So this call to action, this one should really stand out. It shouldn't look weird, but it really should say, look at me. So take that and make it a much more obvious inline call to action. All right, worked for 1 minute. Let's see what we got. Ooh, this is much more bold, but I do not like the gradient here. It's a little bit strange. Or maybe it should stretch across the whole card. I want you to get rid of the left side border, that teal line, and then make the gradient on this card go across the entire card and be a little bit subtle. Okay, then I think we're getting towards something more look at me, but not crazy. Okay, so I'm not sure how we want to handle this gradient because the top left of the card looks a little bit strange. So yeah, change it a little bit to make it look better. Make the headline font a little bit smaller, and then also add a little bit more padding around it, around the text, maybe at the top of the bottom for sure. All right, 20 seconds later, we got, at least that one goes with the button. Give a little bit more breathing room around the text. So it should be one unified card. 23 seconds. The same issue exists. So yeah, try again. I'll give you a screenshot. That way you can see. and allow the headline text to go a little bit closer to the button as well, but more breathing room on the top and bottom. Yeah, and fix that gradient, make it a unified style. But I do like the glow and gradient, but it just doesn't seem quite like a unified card yet. This is good enough for me. So I'll call it a day on the inline call to action. If I make post later and change this text, maybe I'll adjust it a little bit, but for the time being, it seems pretty big and bold and good and clean. So I'm satisfied. So the next prompt we have here is a next steps type of component. It said what to do next, right? And it essentially points the user towards one of three different options. And one is to have them read a recommended post. One is to have them watch a recommended video. And then one is just to work with me, right? So it should be flexible enough for them to choose the next action that makes sense. So I haven't really seen this implemented necessarily well in another location. So this is just a swing in the dark to see if this is going to be anything that's good or useful. And again, this is a component, so it doesn't have to go in a post necessarily. And get it going. All right, looks like it's finished. Let's see what we have here. Worked for 1 minute and 14 seconds. It's a self-contained reusable Astro component with a recommended video. And the video has its own ID, title, description, link, and CTA. Then the work with me next step. We'll move it up to high, add our prompt, and then let it get to work. And this is a somewhat complicated component considering all the pieces, moving pieces associated with it. So it has the task list down here. All right. It worked for 4 minutes and 1 second. And we now have our what to do next component. And it said it added a sample next steps front matter to the no index MDX sample post, but did they add the component itself? So let's take a look. All right, here it is. And where's the component? All right, what to do next? Here are our 3 options. So it's not bad, but there's a lot of text. So let's imagine you're a user and you want to use this. What to do next is good, but it should be an explicit instruction. So let's just give it some creative freedom to do that. It should be quite explicit to the user on what they should be doing next. So it says what to do next. We don't need another subparagraph that says pick the next step, right? That's kind of saying the same thing. It's just extra. So get rid of the pick the next step that matches. Get rid of that line. Then for the watch the video, and then that takes someone to, I would say, YouTube. And inside of that card, the thumbnail for the video should be visible, right? So since you already copied the styling for the inline call to action to that mini card, why don't you copy the video component styling to this little mini video card? And then for the post, the call to action can be like read more or something like that. And yeah, I don't think we need the excerpt for the title should say enough. I guess I'll let you go away with that initial feedback and we'll move on from there. All right, worked for 1 minute and 41 seconds. Let's see how it turned out. Okay, somewhat consistent styling. How about you remove the excerpt for the video card and for the book and intro call card. So the watch the related walkthrough before excerpt and the book and intro call, and we'll identify the highest leverage excerpt. Get rid of those excerpts. Okay. And then along with that, we'll have an image at the top of the continue learning card, taking up the same shape and space as the thumbnail of the YouTube video card up there. So that the continue reading. So the next recommended post, that'll be that featured image. And then for the book and intro call, I'll have to choose an image later, but you can put a filler image in there right now, a placeholder image. Again, the same shape on the top of that card as well. And then we want the buttons to all be centered. So the YouTube Watch Now button, that should be centered in the bottom center, just like the read more and the book and intro call. Okay. And then we could have the what to do next. Maybe we should put that as next steps, thinking about that, or potentially just removing that whole title and border itself. I'm not sure which is better. What do you think? So take that feedback, and then also the button for read more. It is not very visible. It's not easy to see. So make that stand out a little bit more. And if you go to the home page of this website, in the hero section, there's a button that says Start Today. If you hover over it, there's a circle that pops out with an arrow. I want you to add that styling to the buttons on each of these cards. So the Read More button and the Watch Now button and the Book an Intro Call button. So take that feedback and make it a little bit better. All right, it worked for 1 minute and 48 seconds. And let's see how it looks that we had before, just like the video component card. And the Read More button, you can also have that go back to the same styling as the Ghost button, like the home page. And then when you hover over these buttons, they shouldn't go up or to the left. And then also it should be a circle, not a pill shape card. And then have the video card be moved to the right side. All right, it works for 1 minute and 55 seconds. Let's take a look. Okay, much better. The arrow that pops out to the right, when you hover over the buttons, it should be a circle, not a pill. So if you look at the home page, it's a circle when you hover. And since there's no image, turn this article into a practical improvement plan, and then it can be responsive to shrink as if there's too much text. All right, let's take a look. Okay, it should be much bigger and fill the card, like I said, and be responsive. Now, if there's too much text, it shrinks. The max size for the text in the middle card can be a little bit smaller, and then also for the text wrapping, you should never wrap in the middle of a word. And then after that, it should be pretty good to go. I think it's looking pretty good now. So we have this component available if we ever need it. So I like it. Okay, make sure that this component is ready to be reused across the website when called upon. I never sent this message for my previous components, so we'll have to go ahead and do that later to make sure they're all finalized and then they don't get lost. Okay, it is good to go. So what I'm going to do now is also make another commit. All right, I did a create what to do next component. So I'll stage those changes and I'll make a commit. And now we have 2. So the next thing that we're going to create is a component for an author box. Basically, it's going to pull in the details from our author's content collection and just have a little author bio at the bottom of every post. Hopefully it's going to make myself more personable, make this website feel more real, not just some agency that only lives online, right? That's kind of the idea behind it. So here's the author box, and it's going to pull in the name, the bio description, my avatar, which I haven't uploaded yet, and then an optional link to a page, or if I have other authors, I could link out to, say, a LinkedIn or something like that. So yeah, you can go ahead and take a look at this and adjust it to your use case. And all right, it worked for 1 minute and 29 seconds. All right, that was quite a long one for this little author box because of the related content collection and its routing that it has to do. So we'll go ahead and copy this prompt, get a new chat, paste it in, move this to high, and let it go. Okay, I ran for 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Can you go ahead and add the author box component to the MDX article content sample article? There it is. It's already there. We have 2 different width stylings going on, right? So we have to decide if any of this stuff should be full width versus the same width as the post itself. So for example, if I scroll up here and have the sidebar sticky and the sidebar scrolling down with me, which is what I'm going to do in a little bit probably, do I want this author box to be the same width as the blog post or at the bottom? And since it's not actually part of the blog post itself, it feels like it should be full width. Have the author's name appear under the author's avatar image, and then also have the About Thomas link. Just have that link styling be the same link styling that is used across the entire website. It doesn't need its own individual special link styling. And then that link can say, learn more about, and then the author's name. I can't remember if the front matter has a first name variable and then a last name variable, or is both combined. But if it's separate, you can just say learn more about first name. And if it's combined, just say learn more about and then the full name. If you have any questions, then you can ask. Otherwise, you can get to work. We need some more breathing room between the author image avatar and the paragraph, the about the author paragraph and the link over there. It's too cramped. So create some more space there. Just create more space all around the entire card itself too. Like, I guess more padding inside there. And then if you go up on the page mdx-article-content-sample, that post, and then under H3 sort services by intent, there's a link called analytics. That's analytics. That analytics link styling, that's supposed to be the link styling that's used across the entire website. That should look like the analytics link up above, right? So I'm not sure how that got messed up, but it is messed up and needs fixed. And then the name under the author's image, avatar image, the text is too dark, I think. Maybe you can make it the same color as the about the author text. All right, worked for 57 seconds. Let's take a look. All right, pretty good. We still need more space between the about the author paragraph and the author's image avatar, more space between there. And you can create a little bit more space on the right and left of the card as well. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Make sure that this author box component is reusable and ready to be reused across the website, not just a single use case right here. It is now more reusable and wired for this one post layout. All right. So the author box is good to go. And then we can move on to our next prompt. So the next component that we're going to create for our posts content collection is the related posts component. So now what this is going to do is it's going to take a look at this current post's referenced glossary terms, and then just recommend other posts based on that. So remember that we created the relationship between the posts content collection and the glossary content collection, right? So the prompt that we have right here itself is mainly responsible for just making sure that that relationship is used to query the related post. It doesn't really have much in terms of what the component itself should look like when it comes to styling. So this is probably gonna be a mixed bag when we use this one. So you can go ahead. It follows mainly the same structure as the other ones as usual, but yeah, it's going to look at the current post glossary references, query the other posts from it, exclude the current posts, and then limit the number of results. I'm not sure if I wanted to limit the number of results, but maybe it could just do the most recent ones. So it'll figure that out too, right? And output a reusable related posts section. So that is as far as that's the extent of the styling. So you can go ahead and read it verbatim. Go to thomasfellows.com. and take a look at it and adjust it to your liking, and then go ahead and use it. So we'll copy this prompt, move over to VS Code, and we'll start planning it. So one thing that I want to remind you of while we make these is that if you're someone that is used to working inside of WordPress with something like Bricks Builder to do these kind of query loops, then you're going to have to manually click each individual element or text area inside of your card that you're building to query, say, the post title, the post category or tag, and all that type of stuff while you're building it visually with the styling and all of that. So there's a lot of moving pieces inside of this type of component. But at the end of the day, you still have to wire it up to whatever you're using, like ACF or MetaBox. All right. So what to do next is no longer pass through the related posts. Okay. So let's take a look at it, see what we got. There we are. So it looks pretty good. I kind of figured it might look exactly like the other one. So now it comes down to, do I want it to just scroll through a random set of posts related to the glossary terms that we have here, or do I want to separate these related posts by glossary term, right? I want the read article to say read more. That will be the link anchor text. And then again, this read article link should follow the exact same styling as the learn more about Thomas Fellows link and the analytics link above on this page that should be being used across the website. Along with that, we want something so that they can scroll through the related posts. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and add that, please. All right, it worked for 1 minute and 49 seconds. Let's see what we came up with. All right, read more is there. And we have the arrows. Okay, the related posts component is looking good. I want to make sure that you have it completed as a reusable component so I can use it across the website. All right, yep, it's set up as a reusable component. So it is good to go. All right, we can move on to our next prompt. So the next thing that we're going to work on is the end of post call to action. So it's going to be very similar to the inline call to action, but it's going to be full width because the post will have already ended. And it's just one more opportunity to get the reader to go ahead and take the action, the desired action. So here's what it should do. Promote the main service or offer, be reusable across posts, support a flexible headline and copy, and then optionally support different CTA variations based on the post topic. So essentially the same thing as the inline call to action. So we'll go ahead and copy this over and see what we end up with for this one. I'm more than likely going to make this much more customized once I get my offer more solid. And this is again, it says it's to be flexible, so move it to plan mode and we'll let it rip. All right, let's go ahead and copy it up. It says constraints, do not build a full booking system or form. Yep, it's keeping it quite simple. Okay, it worked for 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And let's see what we ended up with. Oh, look at it. This is a big and bold call to action, but I kind of like this. I need you to remove the part that says ready for an electrician website built around real leads. You can remove that part of this component. Then you can make the main headline that turn this content plan into a website that books better jobs. Make that text be able to reach, make it the area much wider. What I'm saying is that you can only have 3 words across. It needs to be wider there. So fix that. And then on the book an intro call button, on hover, we do not want the button to go up, and we want the arrow to the right to appear, but it should be a circle, not this skinny oval looking thing. Let's go ahead and fix those and we'll take another look. Label. The text above the headline is called an eyebrow label. You got to remember that. All right, worked for 1 minute, 23 seconds. Okay, there we go. Whoa, the button's crazy. You can go ahead and remove the paragraph below the turn this content plan into a website that books better jobs. You can remove that because we already have a supporting paragraph above the button. You can make that card a little bit wider. And then also we don't want the button text to wrap into 2 lines. So fix that. Okay, it's looking pretty cool. I like it. So the next thing we're going to do is create the sidebar for the blog posts. And that's going to include a table of contents and then the glossary context block, basically the tags, the glossary terms references, and then a newsletter call to action, basically just sign up. Essentially just like this on the right side. See how it just is sticking, hangs out there, but it's going to be that plus a call to action. So yeah, you can go ahead and again adjust the prompt to your liking and go ahead and make it. Now we're going to get to how the sidebar works on mobile later, but for right now we're going to work on that. So this is what it's looking like right now. So we're going to change that up, the styling too. So we'll get a new chat going, move it on over to medium, plan. Okay, it has finished working after 1 minute and 10 seconds. So it's going to create a table of contents, the glossary context block, and the newsletter CTA, just like we instructed. So now it is specific to our project and repo. All right. Worked for 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And we've got it added. Let's take a look. Ooh, there it is. This is interesting. Okay, not what I was expecting at all for the glossary or the next steps. So let's go ahead and fix it on up. And this is ugly as well. The styling is not very good. It's hard to read the teal. It's hard to read the teal there. So yeah, make it not teal, maybe less bold too. And yeah, just make it look more interesting, the table of contents. So it's easier to read, it's easier to follow, it's easier. It's just make the user experience there better. And for the glossary card, have the title of that card be something like topics covered or related topics, something like that. And then it should just, if you look at the card below the title of the post where it says posts related to, just have it have the exact same styling of tag buttons there. And then the card that says next step, that's completely wrong. I'll upload a screenshot of a newsletter sign up form, and don't take the styling from the screenshot, but take the elements. Say it'll have a subscribe button and a checkbox underneath an email field, and it will say join newsletter. So go ahead and take that feedback. Also, the sidebar should be sticky, so when I scroll down the post, it stays visible. I should say explore topics. That's better. Let's see what that feedback produces. If the table of contents gets any longer at all, then, or if we have any more topics, then the join the newsletter thing will be not visible. So I think we need to go find some more inspiration and try again. When it comes to the table of contents card, you have these numbers 01, 02, 03. I want you to remove those. And then to the left of each of the headings, you have these circles and this line. I want you to do something different. I'll upload a screenshot of a different way to do it, where I guess the bigger headers are more to the left and the smaller headers are indented to the right a little bit more. But there's also a line to the left of some headers. I'm not sure which ones will get a line to the left and how far that is to the left or indented or not. I'll let you figure that out, but I like that simpler styling better than what you have. So yeah, I'll upload the screenshot. And then the 3 cards, table of contents, explore topics, and join newsletter, they all have a little bit different header styling. As you can see, join newsletter has a smaller font and there's a line under it. So let's put a line underneath explore topics and table of contents too, and then make sure that they all have the same styling for the headers. On the join newsletter card, you can go ahead and get rid of the paragraph that says get future video breakdowns. And then the subscribe button, make it have the same styling as the book an intro call button on the end CTA component. Just apply to that join newsletter card. So you can take that feedback and we'll work from there. I do not like the border lines on the table of contents headers to the left. Yeah, they look strange. I think it's because they have a radius. So maybe remove the radius and also maybe give less padding to the left and right for those headings. That way there's not so many words wrapping. Also, you didn't change the subscribe button on the join newsletter card. All right, it worked for 1 minute and 24 seconds. Let's see what we got. I want you to take a look at the card below the title of the post that says you are here and post related to that card. And I want you to give the same styling to each of the table of contents, explore topics, and join newsletter cards, minus the shadow. That way it looks a little bit more uniform. All right, worked for a minute. Let's go ahead and check it out. Ooh, yeah, just a little bit lighter, not a lighter teal, just make the gradient less strong. So there's more white than teal, I guess you would say. And then make on the join newsletter card, make the subscribe button left aligned. And then I think it should be pretty good to go. Okay, yeah, that's looking better. So I think the sidebar is pretty good to go. The next prompt that we have is the mobile pass. But basically making sure it's responsive and taking care of the sidebar on mobile. But before we do that, I do want to double check to make sure that all these components are set in stone. So we're going to take care of that right now. For each of the components on the mdx-article-content-sample page, I want to make sure that you have them all as reusable components and saved. So if this post goes away, these components are saved in our project so we can reuse them over and over. So that includes everything that the you are here, explore topics card above there, the table of contents, the sidebar, the inline CTA, the video component, the author box, the end CTA, the related post, and the what to do next. Make sure all those components are saved and reusable. Beyond that, make sure that the layout for the posts collection is how we have it right here. So obviously inside of the MDX body itself, I will have to explicitly tell you when I want to add the video components, inline CTA, those. But as far as after the MDX body, we should always have that author box, and we should always have the CTA, we should always have the related posts, and we should always have the what to do next, right? Those should always be there. And we should always have the sidebar. So make sure all that is taken care of. So yeah, this is just going to clean up loose ends before we move over to make sure it's mobile responsive. On the join newsletter card in the sidebar, the subscribe button should not move up on hover. Then on the video component, what I want you to do is I want you to slide the subscribe button over to the left a little bit, making room for the little circle to appear with an arrow to the right of the subscribe button on hover. Always that hover animation should work consistently every time, not getting weird and wrapping and all that kind of stuff. Then on the inline CTA, we also want to move that button, book an intro call button, over to the left and have the exact same circle with an arrow in it appear on hover as the end CTA component. So if you have any questions about it before you implement and ask, make sure those changes are permanent and part of the components. Oh, look at this one. We have a teal one, and this is way too far away. The arrow with a circle on the video component is teal. It should match the bed of the subscribe button. Also, the YouTube video title, the width, you can make that way wider. There's tons of white space between it and the subscribe button. So use up that white space with the title. And again, make sure this is part of the component, not just an individual override. All right, it's good to go. All right, I like it. Okay, let's move on to the mobile pass. All right, so here on prompt 11, we have the mobile pass. Basically, we're going to make our desktop layout mobile friendly and responsive. So yeah, it's essentially going to stack the elements from the sidebar appropriately. So if we look down here, the desktop sidebar should not simply appear as a cramped sidebar on mobile, obviously. It's going to become mobile friendly. And okay, so if we go up here, in number 3, it says the recommended mobile flow from top to bottom. The hero, mobile table of contents, X author box, related post, and CTA, and then newsletter CTA. So we may remove some of those after we see what it looks like on mobile. Well, yeah, since I didn't make a commit recently, it's getting angry about that again, saying I have a dirty work tree. It ran for just over 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay. Oh, that looks strange, and it doesn't appear on hover. Same as that. Our table scrolls, that's pretty common. Related posts, oh, they fixed that up nice. This is not bad. It's pretty good on a first take. On mobile, what I want you to do is I want you to make the article title much smaller. And you can completely remove the "You are here, explore topics" card on mobile view. Inline call to action from the start. So it should appear on hover, and then also it should be a circle, not a oval. And we have the same issue on the video component, is that the arrow in a circle is visible from the beginning, not just on hover. So fix that. And then on the what to do next, the work with me card, the arrow in a circle appears even if we're not hovering. So it should only appear on hover, and it should be a circle, not an oval. And that exact same issue is happening on the watch the explanation card of that component as well. And that same issue is happening on the join newsletter card, and that the arrow is appearing even though we're not hovering. On the about the author card, you can go ahead and center the text about the author on mobile. And the CTA component, the button, the book and intro call button, again, the arrow and the circle is appearing even though I'm not hovering. So that seems to be a consistent issue across almost everywhere. So you can start by fixing those issues. All right. It worked for 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and take a look and see how it turned out. The hover behavior for the button on watch the explanation card, the book and intro button on the work with me card, and the read more button on the continue learning card should match the behavior of the button on join newsletter. And what I mean by that is that instead of having the button shrink and have the arrow appear, the button doesn't change size and the arrow appears going to the right. All right, it worked for 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Let's take a look how we're doing. That's up closer. It's a little bit too close. Yeah. All right, I think it's good enough for me. Mobile pass. Oh, here's the tablet. How's the tablet looking? We still have a sidebar on tablet. I'm not too worried about tablet, but this is kind of strange. Now let that be. On to the next prompt. So the next prompt that we have is prompt 12, which is going to be Astro image optimization. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and do a commit, since we have quite a bit of changes here. That way Codex doesn't get angry and confused. Optimization features, which helps you to do many things. And so the TDLR on that is that it makes the images smaller. It compresses them into WebP and AVIF. And then it also generates multiple sizes of the images. So depending on what screen size you're on and what device. It has lazy loading, prevents layout shift, and also the images are handled at build time. So basically, instead of having images being optimized on the fly at runtime, it's done at build time. And yeah, all that's being done through Astro's image optimization. So we haven't actually defined that yet inside of our components and our pages. So you can handle images, each and every image differently based on your use case, right? But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and refactor the entire site, including all the components that we made, in order to use Astro's image handling. So if you go to their docs, you can take a bigger look or a deeper look at how it's actually done. And if you have some very specific use case, you can go in there. But one of the things you might want to know is that where to store images is the SRC versus public, right? So we recommend that local images are kept in SRC when possible so that Astro can transform, optimize, and bundle them, right? So basically, if it's not in the SRC folder, if it's in the public folder, it's going to be, the images are going to be served as is and on, not optimized like you might necessarily want. So yeah, keep that in mind. That's one of the big factors. So I have a prompt on thomasfellows.com that's going to help you refactor it. So we're going to use this prompt inside of plan mode. That way, the plan mode can go ahead and analyze your project and then give you the best implementation plan. So it's right here. I want to refactor this Astro project so all eligible images use Astro's built-in image optimization through Astro assets, right? So if you want, you can go ahead and read through the prompt. It's not long, but we're just going to go ahead and use it in planning mode. So we'll go back to VS Code. We're in Medium. We'll turn on plan mode. Go ahead and enter the prompt and let it get to work. Now, when you build each individual component and page, inside of the prompts that you're giving it, you can give it the instructions to use Astro's image optimization handling at that time too. So by doing this is just another plugin that you would have to mess with inside of WordPress for image optimization and conversion and compression and all that kind of thing. We now have our plan. Refactor eligible content and UI images in Astro's Astro assets pipeline while keeping fixed URL assets in public. So public assets found. Okay, so let's see what it has now. The earlier plan was too conservative. Move all raster images out of public and into Astro's asset pipeline. Okay, so yeah, make sure when they give you a plan to double check it and make sure that it's doing exactly what you want, because some of the stuff that we had already put on the website wasn't going to be optimized. So yep, just be mindful of that. And then yeah, if you want, you can go ahead and implement the plan, which is what I'm going to do. We'll have to make sure that that is A-okay in the future. And when you do a website speed test, you'll often be able to find out if your website is slow because of image handling. You can see on the left side here in the source control panel that the images have moved from the public folder to the SRC assets/images folder. Okay, it has finished in just under 5 minutes, and it moved the images out of public. It updated content schemas to use Astro image for avatar and featured images and OG image. Okay, so I think what we need to do is go ahead and check the edge case that it had listed up here, and then also do a quality assurance check. Before, you had listed edge cases that include the glossary featured image to point to non-existent public files. So I want to make sure that inside of all content collections we have, the posts, the authors, and the glossary, that the Astro image optimization features are being used. And even if there's not images currently being used by those content collections, that it's wired up to do so in the future. So that every time that we produce another post for one of those content collections, it's using the Astro image optimization. And I want you to do a quality assurance check to make sure that all images on the website are using Astro's image optimization features. That's possible. And you should definitely double check to make sure that the images are being optimized at different screen sizes and the images are responsive and mobile friendly. So that'll probably take another 5 minutes just to make sure everything's working correctly. And I'll probably capture or catch one or two things as part of the QA pass. All right. So it made sure to wire the glossary featured image as the optional image rendered with picture when present. And then we should be good. That all the components currently built on this website are using Astro's image optimization features. And also that whenever we create a new component or utilize a new reusable component, that those will be using Astro's image optimization features. Components instead of just using the original picture and image components thing. So it's a little bit over engineered, but at the end of the day, if we get accomplished what we want, that's what matters most. This conversation's context ballooned quickly. It's already compacting the context, so hopefully that doesn't affect the quality of the output. Is there a reason that you used the shared wrappers as opposed to the Astro assets import? Okay, so I asked, why it's using those wrappers. So it still uses it inside of the wrappers, but it just added some defaults for the wrappers. Can you start the local server with the sample post URL given to me so I can take a look at how you did? All right, let's see how it looks. Okay, seems to be working fine. No problems here. The images are working here, and let's see how it looks on mobile. All right, seems to be doing just fine. All right, so I think we'll call it a wrap on the image optimization refactoring. And I'll leave the links to the Astro docs. They also have a blog post if you want to read that as well. That's from 2023. So let's move on to the next prompt. All right, we're on to our final prompt here. This is for the actual design system for the entire website and the individual post collection, content collection layout. Okay, so if you go down here, it is going to codify the approved MDX article content sample styling into the project's overall website design system. Okay, so that means the design for the entire website, all the H1s, the bulleted list, the ordered list, the code block, all that styling should take place across the whole website. Then it's going to verify the post layout is production ready. So that means the post's content collection layout. Okay, so that'll be since this is a post content collection post, just the layout itself in that the sidebar and all the stuff at the end, the related post, all this kind of thing. So that's its job. And what you might want to do is modify, look through here and then modify what the name of your sample article is or what your content collection is called, right? So this says there should be a sample post called the MDX article content sample. It might work for you even without changing it because the way it's titled, but that's the actual title that I have right here too. Go ahead and read through it and then change the prompt so that it does in fact work for you. And so it's listed a couple different times. Go back over to VS Code, get a new chat, put it to plan mode. Okay, it worked for 58 seconds. And now we have our prompt. We just want to double check the goal to make sure that there's kind of two different goals going on here. The site-wide design system codification and then also the post layout. Into shared reusable website level design system primitives. Then verify the complete individual post layouts production ready across desktop, tablet, and mobile. Okay. So we'll go ahead and copy this and let it get to work. Start a new chat. Give it high reasoning. Paste the prompt and let it go. Since I didn't do a commit, it's telling me my work tree is dirty again, which I should have done a commit between each prompt, right? Okay, so let's see what it did. It worked for 11 minutes and 53 seconds, and it made the content pros the active reusable article primitive in post layout.astro, and post content kept as a legacy CSS alias. Okay, so it didn't just trash it. Consolidated the post selectors and added shared post primitives in global CSS. Okay. So hopefully it is working as expected. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on the front end. So a couple of the things changed as far as styling and spacing is concerned. So it didn't work completely correctly. So that means we're going to have to do some troubleshooting with this. What is being used right now on the posts content collection? And the reason I'm asking is because I told you to take the sample posts design and then make that the global design system. But some of the things changed. For example, the link styling has changed and now it's black. The H3 used to be a lighter tint, but now it's darker. And the spacing is more cramped than it used to be. So again, don't change anything, but tell me what's going on under the hood. Do we have two competing design systems or one? And what is taking precedence right now on the post content collection? I want you to condense that answer down into like 3 lines. Is there a competing global versus post layout design system? And what is winning? What is being used right now on the post content collection? Or is it a mix? Again, don't make any changes. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make these commits over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to remove the legacy post content class like completely, get it out of the file system. Then I'm going to once again make my changes to the design here and call it a day. So let's make a commit. So we'll stage all our current changes. And the reason I'm doing this is that way I can easily press undo between each and every prompt. The first thing I want you to do is to delete the legacy design system. Like you said, it's not being used right now. So just go ahead and delete it. That way, if I make a change, it's just going to take hold across the website, not be an individual override right here. That way, when we do future edits, it's not scanned and taken into context and then they start trying to use it. I'm probably going to get pretty religious about doing commits during this part. All right, so we'll commit those changes. Okay, and look, it's back. See, it was overriding it. So our styling is good again. There we go. All fixed. And all right. So as far as I can see then, the quality assurance and the codification of the design system is set and good to go. So here's our sample post, and the UX improvement or modification I want to make is to add a reading progress indicator. So it's kind of like this right here. As you scroll down the page, it tells you how far you are from the end of the page. I'm not sure if it's helpful for conversions or UX or whatnot, but I kind of like it. So I'm going to try to implement that on post here. So let me go ahead and give it a little prompt to make it happen. I would like to add a reading indicator progress bar to the posts content collection layout. And I'm assuming you have to make that into a reusable component. And the way I want to do it is that if you open up the MDX-article-content-sample post, there's a very thin line between the you are here and explored topics block and the actual blog post and table of contents. I'll upload a screenshot of it. And that's actually where I want the reading indicator progress bar to be. So when the post, when the top of the screen gets to that point and the sidebar starts scrolling, that's when I want the reading progress bar indicator to go ahead and scroll, be sticky and scroll together with the table of contents. And it should be minimal and modern. So we'll let you get started with that. And I'm not sure if it should be across only the width of the blog post content itself or across the post and the sidebar. But assuming it has to be mobile friendly, we might want to just keep it across the width of the blog post content, but I'll let you make the call. So if you have any clarification questions, you can go ahead and ask me. If not, I'll let you get to work on it. And yeah, I updated the horse picture. So that's what we have here. So we'll just go ahead and let it get to work. All right, worked for 3 minutes, 43 seconds. Implemented the reading progress bar. There's a new sticky accessible progress component, and the post layout Astro places it. Okay, so let's take a look and see how it is. Let's do a refresh. I do not see it. There's the bar itself. It looks like, I think this is the bar right here itself, but it's not sticky. So let's go ahead and fix that up. It looks like there's a new bar post, but I can't tell if it works or not because I'm not sure if that's the actual reading progress component that you have there, and it's not sticky. It doesn't stick. So, but yeah, I'll show you what I'm talking about with a screenshot upload so you can take a look and see what the problem is. Let's check it out. See if it works now. Okay, it is working, but it's ugly because it will look better if it sticks to the top. I kind of like it. This, maybe not a stick. It seems to be working now, but I do not like the style. The background fill, we don't need, I guess, yeah, maybe we don't need a background fill to be more light and glow black. So yeah. And yeah, make it stick to the top of the screen. All right, good to go. Let's see this. Okay, it's really hard to see now. It's there and it works correctly, but it is so thin that it's hard to tell that it's even there. So maybe we need to make it a little bit thicker line, taller. Yeah, make the glow or the gradient or something like that a little bit interesting. Still too difficult to see. This is strange. Let me refresh it. It has some weird behavior. There's some kind of weird behavior where the progress bar starts in the middle of the post. I don't know if it's because I pressed refresh in the middle of the post, what the deal is. We need to make sure that the scroll behavior on progress works no matter where the page loads and where you are, that it should be at the correct position in progress and reverse back up. So yeah, there's something strange about the progress and scroll behavior together itself. And then also, again, it's just way too difficult to see. Maybe we should go with a reverse the gradient. So the darker part is at the beginning and the lighter part's at the end. And again, make it thicker and more of a shadow glow. So make it at least, yeah, make it like double the thickness. Take a look now. It's much easier to see now. I'm going to take a screenshot reading indicator that I saw on the website. I want you to make it look that, matching my theme colors and less dark. Let's see how it looks now. That's interesting. It kind of fills as it goes. Yeah, that's strange. The fill doesn't end. I like how you have the entire progress bar there. You can see when it ends, so it's immediately visible what's happening. There's a blue in the middle that doesn't match my theme. It's like blue that's outside of this theme. So you get rid of that and then just have the teal gradient that we have naturally go. Also, again, we're having problems with the scroll positioning. That's when it starts and when it ends. So you need to take another quality assurance check on that. All right, it ran for 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Let's take a look. Give it a hard refresh. Go back to the top. Okay, it stops right there. It's sitting there. Let me go down. Pretty cool. Is it still a little bit too thick? Can you make it about 25% less tall? And then after that, give it one more QA pass for both desktop and mobile. Actually, let's check mobile right now before we do that. Yeah, it's working. Seems to work pretty good. Send on that. Looks good to go. Give it the hard refresh. Scroll on down. I think it's looking good. So what do you think? Do you think this was a good addition to the site or just kind of useless extra component? Anyway, that was the extra UX component that we added. So that'll be it for this component. So now you've got a complete post layout system built with AI that you can actually reuse and scale. If you want the exact prompts I used in this video, go to thomasfellows.com. In part 5, we're building the glossary system and connecting it back into everything you just saw. If you want the full workflow, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.